How would you define a good Uber driver? I think there's a lot of different ways to go about it. Hi, my name is Levi Spires. This is the Tip You in the App Daily Drive podcast. And today's Daily Drive is brought to you by the Gig You app. I had this thought. What makes an Uber driver, Lyft driver, taxi driver, maybe, I don't know about taxi, but let's just say Uber and Lyft for now. What makes them good at their job? Well, I think to define the word good, let's put a number behind it or a way to measure performance. Someone who is good at their job typically gets paid the most. A good example would be an athlete. An athlete, the best of the best, tend to get paid more than the not good athletes. Or how about the doctors? The best doctors, the world's best surgeons, tend to make the most money. Entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurs who are the best tend to make the most money. It's a meritocracy. The people who are the best at their profession get paid the most. But I don't think that's the same thing with Uber. Let me explain. Okay, there's three people measuring the performance of the driver. Person number one, Uber. Okay. Person number two, the passenger. And person number three, the driver. Now, in all business market situations, capitalistic, whatever the right way to say it is, there tends to be an employer. Whether you're an employee or a 1099 contractor, it doesn't matter. There's somebody who's sourcing the job and finding the job, hiring somebody at some level to do the work. And then there's a customer who is receiving the work, especially in the service industry. There's a person that owns the hair salon. There is a hairstylist, and then there is a person getting their hair done. And obviously that is not me. That's a bald man. I haven't been to a hair salon ever. Okay, so we've got these people. And I think this is Uber's biggest problem. I think this is one of the reasons why Uber is currently not set up for success as the world changes with autonomous cars and everything. Let me dive into it. If you were to ask an Uber passenger what makes a driver really good, in fact, I even asked some of the AI agents, Gemini and Grok and ChatGPT, and they all said the same thing. Someone who's professional, who's safe, courteous, prompt, car is clean, someone who knows their way around town. That is what Uber passengers would say is a good driver. Sometimes they're conversationalists, sometimes they're not. It just depends on but they meet the passenger's needs. Whatever that person sitting right over here needs, great customer service. That makes a good driver. Now, in the future, there won't be a driver here, but the car still needs to be cleaned. It still needs to be driven safely and all these other things. But so that's how the passengers look at the driver. Now let's think about Uber. What do they want? I don't think they care about those things. They might put them into language and PR things and all that kind of stuff. But I think if Uber were to say their best drivers, and again, I don't know, they don't tell me. My gut feeling is that they're diamond drivers. They accept majority of the trips, regardless of the fare. They go wherever Uber needs them to go. And they're probably, I don't know, kind of highly rated, but I mean, like the standard to be a diamond driver is a 4.85, which is really hard to be that low. I mean, like I've been a 5-star for almost my entirety of being an Uber driver. I think for a brief moment in time, I was a 4.98, then I was a 4.99, but I was almost 5-star because I put an emphasis on customer service. And so I get 5 stars for my passengers, etc. So Uber says you have to be at 4.85, which is like that's a pretty low bar. That's like being a D student in my mind. Okay, so Uber is not putting a precedent or a standard of those things that the passenger is looking for. And in fact, this is where it gets really complicated. Uber gives drivers fixed price contracts. Each ride is a fixed price. And they want drivers to stay online, no matter how tired the driver might be. So there's a safety thing there, both speeding to get rides done quicker. They even give drivers bonuses. Like if you can get 70 trips done this weekend, we'll pay you $100 bonus or whatever. So they're incentivizing drivers to stay out longer, drive faster, and that's how you're going to get paid more if you can complete those bonuses. Now, so okay, those two, I think the passengers in Uber, even Uber's customer service, by the way, calling into an AI hotline or talking with somebody in the Philippines, as lovely as the Filipino culture is, it is a challenge when you're in the US and you're trying to understand somebody on the phone that doesn't have the same dialect as you if you're in America. Now, you could be in Nigeria and other places, and there's a lot more to it. So I understand why Uber does what it does, but it doesn't send the signal that customer service is their number one priority. The passenger's happiness is not their number one priority. Now, let's think about the driver. If you're a driver like me, how would you define a good Uber driver? You'd probably say the driver that makes the most amount of money, right? The driver that makes the most amount of money is a good Uber driver. And if you go back to the standard of the professional athlete or the doctor or the hairstylist or the people that are really, really good at their job make the most amount of money. So the question is, how do you make the most amount of money as an Uber driver? It tends to be the exact opposite of what Uber wants you to do. And you don't have to even please the passenger. You just have to complete as many profitable rides as possible, or as in the shortest amount of distance and time. You in fact want to have the cheapest car you possibly could have. The most broken down version of whatever standard. If you have an Uber black car, the way you're going to make the most amount of money is have the cheapest Uber black car you possibly can. If you're an Uber X driver, man, you want that really old Toyota Prius that is hanging on by its last limb, rust everywhere, but who cares? It's just cheap to operate because that's how you'll make the most amount of money. Now, the passengers don't want a broken down car. They don't want a driver that's racing around town trying to complete quests. They don't want drivers always declining their rides, because that's how we make the most amount of money. For the most part, if you're an Uber driver, the lower your acceptance rate tends to be the more amount of money that you make in a given hour. So it's like all these things are opposed to each other. There aren't many businesses that can operate this way, where everybody is going their own different directions. I mean, how many businesses really survive where you have as bad of customer service as Uber? That's just not a thing. Bad customer service is a great way. Bad customer service is a great way to have your door shut as a business. And that's Uber's bread and butter. That's how Uber has been making all this money. I saw this chart, I'll put it up here on the screen, where for when Uber first became into business and how much money they've lost. I don't know if it's when they opened as their stock price or whatever, but they lost billions and billions of dollars. And just recently, only recently, have they turned the corner and became profitable. And how do they become profitable? By gamifying the app through upfront pricing. No longer are drivers paid on a rate card or anything like that. It's like, hey, we're going to charge as much as we possibly can, extract as much profitability or revenue out of the passengers that we possibly can, and we're going to pay as little to the driver as possible. And we're going to do this through an AI algorithm that's going to probably trick people into paying for rides and or accepting trips. That's Uber. That's how Uber makes money. They don't make money by being like, wow, I'm so happy. That was a professional ride. I feel safe. And I don't think Uber cares about that at all. They might say they do. what I'm saying is their incentive structures, the way they set their business model up, isn't like that. That's not how they've designed everything. They've incentivized drivers to run as cheaply as possible and maintain the bare minimum, the barest of minimum of standards. And as long as you're not some sort of horrible predator out there or reckless driver, yeah, you're good enough for us. Come on. We just want cars online, and we want you to take this lowest offer that you possibly can. We don't care if passengers rate you high or low or whatever. They just don't care. Now, so what makes a good Uber driver? But it depends on who you ask. If you ask a driver, it's the person that makes the most amount of money. And to make the most amount of money, for the most part, means being very selective on the trips that you take for whatever standards you have. Whereas Uber's like, oh, please take this trip and please take this trip. And that's how they make their money. And that's what makes them whatever. And then the passenger's like, I just want a safe, professional ride. I don't want to be some broken down car. None of these things are congruent or equal or going in the same direction. And now Uber has real competition. Waymo and robo-taxi, Zoox, these are all coming online, these autonomous cars. And what are they offering? A clean, I assume they're clean, driverless car. So it's professional. It's like you're not going to get some sort of, weird driver in the car. You're getting this experience that's like that. It's consistent. It's reliable to some extent. And they're new, they're fresh, and there's a lot of issues they have to work out. But what are they working out? All these other competitors, Waymo, robo-taxi, Zoox, and whoever else is doing it, they're working out the logistics of delivering customer service to their passengers on a regular basis, safe, professional ride, and customer service. And those are all aligned because it's all within their business. If you go into a Waymo runs it. Whether it's the car, they don't have a driver, but whatever, and they're running the whole thing. And what is Uber Flex? What is Uber really good at? They're an app. And now with like OpenClaw and the potential of your phone doing the shopping for you, can you imagine in the future just going into your phone saying, find me a ride? And then your phone calling all the different places, Waymo, Zoox, local taxis, whoever, and knowing your standard and your price point to find you the exact ride? Uber is just one of many in that mix. And they are the least customer service oriented of that. I'm not saying Uber can't fix this. I hope Uber does. I'm an Uber driver. I like to drive Uber. I take pride in being a 5-star driver. I take pride in meeting the needs of that customer. But I don't get paid more. I mean, I maybe a little bit more. I might earn a little bit more in tips, but that's a conversation for another day. The reality is the way I make the most amount of money is actually competing against Uber. I think Waymo and Zoox, and they're all in the same boat. Uber is this island. Now they're going to bring on cars, right? They're partnering with, I think, Kia or Hyundai or somebody. I don't know who they're partnering. I can't remember who it is, but who are they partnering with? It doesn't matter right now. So they're going to have cars, but Uber has never managed vehicles. They've never driven people anywhere. Uber has never, on any scale, done any of this. All they've been is an app, and apps are less valuable. So hopefully Uber figures it out. Like, you have to be good at customer service. It's no longer of value to be a successful app. I don't think it is. Well, in certain areas it is. New York City, probably a little bit, because there's no Waymos or robo-taxis there. But in San Francisco, in Phoenix, Austin, Uber's got some really tough competition. Now it's going to be in Atlanta, going to be in Charlotte, Waymo. They're going to be in Nashville, I believe, Miami, Orlando. They're going, Uber has competitions popping up everywhere, and people like it because when you order a Waymo, you kind of know what you're going to get. When you order an Uber, you might get a professional driver. I like to think somebody good like me in a clean car that's safe and reliable. But you could get a young 20-something-year-old whatever that's just working to make $100 tonight, and they're broken down, Chevy whatever is pulling up, and you may probably get to your destination. The car is going to be a little dirty. It's going to stink. Who knows if they've been smoking? Uber's got a long way. I don't know. How do you define what a good Uber driver is? Let me know what your thoughts are. Um, Hey, drivers, thank you. Shout out to the sponsors. Please check them out. Gig U, Red Tiger, and Lace Fit Mats. All I'm super appreciative of them. Drivers, if you want to join the community, I have Thrive membership here on the YouTube channel or any other place. I think for YouTube, it's like $3 a month. You can join a community and I make custom exclusive videos for you guys. I respond to your comments on all the channels and whatever you post. If you don't want to pay, I totally understand. Join the Facebook group. The Facebook group is free. It's a tip you in the app. It's a Facebook group for drivers only. And it's a great little place to have a little water cooler. Drivers for 2026, I hope you are safe, healthy, and happy. I hope you have fun. Hope you make some good money. And I hope you enjoy the ride. My name is Levi Spires, and I want you to know that I am cheering for you. Be well. Bye.